But is there a difference between fresh and frozen produce in terms of nutrition? Which should you be eating? Your instinct may be to shout out, of course fresh food is better, it's fresh, and you may be right, but it's highly dependent on the circumstances. In many instances, the food you take off the shelf in a grocery store has been harvested underripe to avoid damage during travel time. This means it hasn't yet reached its peak nutrition. Furthermore, the minute it was picked, its nutritional content began to deteriorate. The food is then loaded on a truck, boat, or plane, travels for days, and waits on a shelf for you to choose it, after which it may sit in your fridge for a few more days before being eaten. Over this period of potentially weeks, the food may lose up to 50% of its nutritional value. Frozen foods, on the other hand, are picked when they're ripe and frozen immediately. And while the quick freeze process does affect some of the vitamin content, it essentially freezes or locks most of the nutrients in place. Next to the fresh produce that has been sitting around for weeks, there's no doubt that frozen foods can contain more nutrition, particularly during the months that local produce is not in season and traveling far distances. In a series of studies, after 3 days of storage, frozen broccoli had higher levels of vitamin C and beta-carotene, frozen blueberries were much higher in polyphenols and anthocyanins, and frozen sprouts scored higher on all nutrient measurements. Of course, if you pick a fresh vegetable from your garden or get it from a local farmer's market and eat it that day, nothing can quite compare to both the nutrition and the taste. But unless you're able to shop every few days, frozen produce can be a great, nutritionally comparable alternative.